Wingnut, I think you muted, buddy. But welcome back to, believe, match three of the losers bracket. I'm Mystical, joined by Wingnut. Wing, do you want to quickly introduce ABBA?
Yeah, I just want to say, what the frecky? My mic was muted. We've got a beautiful match going on here today. Looks like a band apart has brought us Balgorn, double Hyperion, yes! Navy Harbinger, Pontifex, double Frecky, Vexor, and double Thalia.
And on the still got the old names on stream, by the way. But yeah, on the opposing team, you have an Abaddon, Hyperion, Astarte, Absolution, Zealot, two Freckies, two Deacons, and a Punisher. So going for more support, I believe, on the lower end there.
This is my kind of match, man. All the blaster battleships at point blank. We've got a bunch of Freckies here as well. No one's going to be running in this fight. It's just going to be a brawl.
I find it interesting that the literally triggered Hyperion came in so close to the beacon, whereas, the entire battleship wing also came in at 0. So I imagine that one of them's going to die really quickly.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how this is going to go. All the battleships immediately tackled down for a band apart. Looks like Wayland Jar in his Hyperion is trying to burn away, but he's already getting hard tackled and shot.
I think one of the Hyperions is shooting a DC'd luxury yacht, which is not the target of choice at the beginning of the match. He should be shooting Wayland in the Hyperion. Perhaps getting a little confused there.
I think we're confused as well, but that Hyperion, I thought he was going to go down a lot quicker than that, but no, immediately solidified, doing quite well. There's a Deacon now, I think he's been super well below the Freckies, because he's barely moving. He's now being shot straight towards armor.
Yeah, I mean, I find it interesting that Wayland's tanking so well. I guess one of the issues that we were seeing is that one of the Hyperions wasn't shooting the right target. But it's also going to take time, I think, for the Balgorn to work through his cap boosters, which means that, eventually he won't be able to rep properly. But assuming that he's using 3200s, it will take a little while.
And we see both Freckies for a band apart actually burnt in to try and web down, I think, the Deacon there. But they're kind of on their own now. Lufax has pretty much been separated. He's getting Logi from his boys, but he's still kind of on his own, right in front of literally triggered.
Yeah, I think the Thalia is close enough to get reps onto Lufax and the Freckie quite comfortably. And one thing that we haven't mentioned is that as a Freckie is an assault frigate, it does get the ADC that assault frigates get. So it will be super tanky, even if it looks like it's dying at some point.
A true meme module indeed. Look at that Hyperion now going into Hull. He's got an absolute swarm of rep drones on him. We're not seeing a single smart bomb from either side to try and remove these rep drones. You've got two Hyperions at point blank on this other Hyperion, and not a smart bomb among them.
Yeah, I think it's quite interesting that we haven't seen a smart bomb yet. I wondered if the Balgorn actually had the smart bomb or not, but he's burned past Wayland in the Hyperion that's actually dying at the moment in time to apply pressure, I think, to the Deacons that are sitting a fair whiles away.
You'll see a Vexor being pressured as well, but that Hyperion goes down. That's going to be a brutal loss for him, unfortunately.
I think one of the reasons that Wayland went down so easily in the Hyperion is that the Deacons are slightly out of position for the literally triggered team, I believe. They are sitting about 40 kilometers away from the targets they need to be repping, which means that they're not getting those reps out properly because they do have a really short range.
I think they actually got screened off for a while there by that Freckie that I was mentioning earlier. He got up to one of them, webbed him down to like 10 ms, and they just couldn't get into the fight. And now obviously they're a bit more free, but it's probably a little too late for them.
Yeah, we have just seen a Vexor go down, and the Thalia of Lincoln is actually going down as well. I think he is probably webbed down and being applied to quite effectively by the Absolution, the Zealot, and the Astarte on the literally triggered side. He is trying to burn away to mitigate some of that damage, but he's burning in a straight line, which isn't necessarily the best thing to do.
Yeah, here's the buddy in the other Thalia needs to move a bit closer to help him out because he's going into Hull now, not looking good.
He's still alive, though, so he is wasting time for the enemy team, which is key. As the Balgorn should be burning in and applying pressure, I think, to some of the Absolutions and Zealots, for example. Try and turn off some of the guns, perhaps, and make it easier to work their way through.
It looks like the hypes of a band apart have gone straight after the Abaddon now. They actually overshot it a little bit, but they kept within range. They start applying to him now.
Yeah, they're just zoning the other team, They're just forcing them away.
And now we're seeing smart bombs. I think that was from that's from the Hyperion now. I will be a bit confused that he didn't fire those smart bombs off before when there was a Hyperion smothered in rep drones.
Yeah, I mean, there's been some interesting, I guess, choices so far in this match in terms of primaries, especially for the abandoned part team, and the decision not to use your smart bombs. But they are,
Rix. I'm sorry, but Rix Javix has got his micro warp drive on and is just orbiting this Abaddon. What? Stop moving, please.
Yeah.
Please.
Okay, well, abandoned part maybe should not be winning the match as handily as they are at this moment in time, given some of the choices that we've seen. But I think he is being helped by some of the Freckies. He's webbed now, so he will be able to attract a little bit better.
Yeah. He's been helped out by an enemy Freckie webbing him. What world are we in?
Yeah, I think that's actually a bad decision to web the Hyperion. He's still burning with his micro on. We can see him going 250 meters a second in orbit. The web has dropped, but I think he has figured out that he probably should not be orbiting anymore.
Yeah, with the Abaddon now going through his armor now, going towards Hull. Once he goes through Hull, it's going to pop in seconds. Abaddon gets great armor resist, but his hull is lacking.
Yeah, I find it quite interesting that we've seen 2 battleships go down essentially once this one goes down, but we've still got damaged ships coming out from the literally triggered team. So it's not over yet, but it is definitely not a position they want to be in.
Yes, they've got an Astarte Absolution, which is pretty good damage, as well as a Zealot that can just run away, but these Freckies will stop them from being able to do that. So any ship that tries to run just gets Freckied. Very interesting matchup for sure. Where are these Hyperions going now? Let's just figure out where these guys are going. What wild ride are we on now? Looks like they're going after the Astarte.
Yeah, it looks like they're trying to pressure the Astarte at the moment with the damage coming out from the Hyperions. And I imagine the Balgon should be neuting the Absolution and the Zealot, as they're going to be really cap dependent for their missiles, for their gun systems rather. Although the Balgon is just kind of sitting still. I think he's tackled down.
Yeah, the Barghest is definitely scrammed, so he's not going to be going particularly fast. Looks like the 2 Hyperions and the Navy Harbor fighting over who gets to kill the Astarte. You see them all clumped together going after him.
Yep,
Astarte is super tackled.
I'm just going to say the Thalia is taking damage again. I'm not quite sure what from. I can see that the Astarte is shooting the Thalia at the moment, but I don't think it's enough by itself necessarily to kill the Thalia, so I'm thinking that the Absol or the Zealot might be shooting as well. But he does go down, so that leaves only 1 logistics ship. Well, the other one's getting absolutely chunked as well. So both Thalias potentially going down in exchange for the Astarte.
I suspect that was a Freckie doing that, because there was a Freckie nearby him, and he just got deleted, gone, pop. Maybe it was a Balgon, maybe. I'm sure.
I mean, I'd hope it's not the Balgon, because I mean, it is his own teammates, So.
Oh right, yeah. Whoops. Sorry, wrong way around.
That is all good. So yeah, I mean, literally triggered still have their 2 deacons. Again, with looking at the deacon positioning at this moment in time, keeping in mind that there are Freckies on the field, they are not close to the Absolution, which means that they are still not putting out optimal range reps on their target. So still quite a struggle for literally triggered, but they are working their way through the support wing of a band apart at this moment in time. I'm not sure it's enough though to win. Do you think that 2 Hyperions and a Balgon could potentially lose to an Absolution and a Zealot, even if they have 2 deacons out?
Is this a trick question?
Yes.
Yeah, the Hyperions are not going to die at all. Even half well-fit Hyperion with a brain-dead pilot could probably tank this at this point.
See, the trick question was, we've already seen that Abandoned Parts 2 Hyperions have potentially questionable decision-making skills.
He's still micro-warp driving!
Exactly. So, you say there's no way that they could potentially die, or possibly die, but I think if they move close enough to the boundary, you might see Rix go down immediately. Maybe Watson goes down as well. That's where that Zealot needs to be. He's not anywhere near the boundary at the moment, but he's also not tackled. So what he needs to be doing is burning for the arena edge. I think is the only way that they possibly win this. And praying that both of the Hyperions decide they get a boundary, and maybe the Balgon follows after.
That being said, they did lose one of their Freckies, so they are slowly losing their support wing for these Hyperions and Balgon, but I think even then, they could lose everything up to the Navy Harb, and they'll still be able to tank and survive this fight until the end, and probably still be ahead on points.
Yeah, I don't think it would be much of a struggle for a band apart to win this now with all 3 of their battleships and the Harbinger Navy issue, which, I don't think we've mentioned too much, but also a battlecruiser in terms of points, Navy battlecruiser actually. So, yeah, they've got basically all of their core still alive.
Yeah, you see now the Hyperion's going after the Zealots. At this point, it's just watching the Hype just burn from target to target, trying to kill them.
Okay, so the Zealot is throwing because he's only going for... Oh, it's AB fit. Well, this is tragic. Potentially AB fit, unless he's webbed, which he is
never
not.
mind, the Hyperions have turned. The Hyperions have picked a new target. Looks like they want to go after this Deacon? Is that what they're going after?
Makes sense. They're going for easy points. There's a minute left on the match, and they're up, by 55 points, basically. So little chance for them losing at this point to any point changes, and no need to kill the Zealot at this point either. It's kind of disappointing to see an AB Zealot there. I mean, I expected it to burn for the arena edge, and then I see it go 500 meters a second.
It hurts me too, my man. It hurts me too. At least 100 men fit it, please.
100 men, okay. But yeah, I guess some interesting decision-making skills coming out here. Anything that you would suggest for these Hyperion pilots? I know how much you like the Hyperion.
Oh, I wonder what could I suggest to these Hyperion pilots? Just a little bit more practice in flying battleships. You don't orbit targets.
Yeah, prop mode on,
maybe Rick's
prop mode off.
pilot. Who knows?
It's all good. I mean, they managed to pull the match out, and I think it went handily towards a band of parts. So congratulations to them on their continuation into the tournament. And unfortunately for Literally Triggered, they're dropping out here. But thanks for turning up. And with that, I guess we'll throw it back to the studio.